everyone. This is Joanne Martinez, and this is Thinking Out Loud in Studio A. So my topic for this week is a very simple one, and one that I think really needs to be focus of attention. It's based on an article that I read just the other day about a young 14-year-old boy who committed suicide because he was bullied. And this bullying had been so extensive that he lived in New York. He was bullied up here. So his family moved to Florida, where he was continuing to be bullied. And it was just way too much for him. And he just decided to take his own life. And of all reasons that he was bullied, it was because he was 14 years old and he was short for his age. I know it sounds like I'm breaking up that I'm actually talking about this, but the truth is, while this story is so damaging and it's so hurtful, it is important to bring up this issue. I guest hosted on a show that I frequently do from time to time, and the topic was supposed to be about back to school, especially survival tips during the junior high school years. Now, this situation that's happening, this is what I wanted to get into. Unfortunately, the topic had strayed into some sort of politics and the political ramifications of junior high, and it's important that the parents hunker down and get these kids to go into studying engineering and this and that. And the truth is, that had nothing to do with it. One thing that was kind of insulting about the whole situation was just, I was trying to present the idea of starting out junior high and surviving through junior high. So when I was wanting to participate in the program that I was asked to co-host on, and we were going to talk about junior high school and the pitfalls that come with it, I was going to explain it under the context in that junior high school is you being in a building with 300 of those that are just like you, and you're all on the cusp of puberty. Some of you are overdeveloped, some of you are underdeveloped, some of you haven't been developed at all yet, and it's going to be a very hard time. It's a hard time for you physically, emotionally, psychologically, and maybe even economically. And, I was guest hosting, of course, and there was somebody else on the panel. And the person that was on the panel, funny enough, he said, no, it's not an issue of biology. It's not an issue of puberty. It's an issue of politics, and you have to prepare these kids to become engineers and scientists because that's what we need. These kids don't have to worry about puberty right now and this and that. And it just pissed me off. It just got me really upset because not even a good week and a half has passed, and now we hear that this poor 14-year-old child killed himself. Why did he kill himself? Because he happened to be too short for his height. He was 14 years old, and because he had some sort of medical problem early on in his life, it stunted his growth. This is what I wanted to get into last week. I wanted to try to get the parents to know what bullying looks like now and to take precautions and to tell the kids that were listening to, one, not engage in the bullying, meaning don't participate in it, don't start it. And two, find ways to stick up for themselves and also stick up for other people. Like if you see a friend of yours or another kid of yours being bullied, stand up for that kid and ultimately stand up for yourself. Start protecting each other. This kid, this poor child, he was picked on because for a 14-year-old, he was short. A medical condition that stunted his growth. A possible hormone imbalance. Something that these kids are going through. They develop too fast. They develop really late. And some may not be able to develop normally. This is becoming such a huge issue, especially at that age, when you reach the junior high school age, because it's the start of puberty. Some are developing way too fast. Some are developing way too slow. Well, not slow. Some aren't developing as quickly as others, and some may not develop at all. They may be really late bloomers, And it's not to say that the show was not good, because it was a good show. But it's just that it just didn't need to be weighted on such a heavy topic, such as what children should be studying. School just started, and yeah, maybe that issue is important, but here's the thing. These kids and parents are heading into a new experience, a new era. Their relationship will be tested in ways they never knew before. What good is a child wanting to study science or math if they don't even want to go to school, because from the moment they enter in the door, they are tormented? What good is a child studying mathematics when that child is persecuted and is distracted during said class? This child, this poor little boy, had a serious issue. His emotional and psychological state was so compromised, and he had such little peace in his life that he decided to seek peace by taking his own life. Maybe this kid wanted to be a doctor. Maybe this kid wanted to be an engineer. Maybe this kid wanted to be a journalist or a fashion designer or a singer. But you know what? We will never know. We will never know what this kid will become, because he was persecuted because how he was looked. Now, I don't know what the host of the show and the other panelists had worked out before, but I, someone who has been bullied, has witnessed bullying, and maybe have done a little bullying myself in the past. I'll admit it. We've all had the mean girl phase. Trust me, we've all had it. But I just thought that it was a way more important topic to delve into, And a lot of people that I was telling that I was going to be talking about this issue, they were right on point. They were so supportive of it. And there are a lot of parents, especially in the Haitian community, especially in the community that is not American, and in communities in which English is a second language, and they were not brought up, in America. This issue is so important. The issue of puberty and how to survive middle school and that really fragile time in adolescence. This issue was so important. And it was just sad that we couldn't get into it. This is what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about this kid, not this kid, but the fact that there are kids that are heading into junior high school. And because of how they look physically, they will be tormented. Some may be the tormentor, some may be the tormented. But unfortunately, we couldn't get into that because we had to focus on other things. So right now, I wanted to take that moment and talk about it myself. Talk about how the fact that when it comes to junior high, when it comes to this era in schooling, you have to tell your children, you as a parent, it's your job to protect the child and to teach them tricks of the trade that you may have picked up in case they are being tormented, because you grew up in that era too, and it's not an easy time. It wasn't an easy time when you were growing up, and it certainly wasn't an easy time when I was growing up or anyone else was growing up. Those are really hard years, 11, 12, 13, 14 years old. Those are really hard years to get through because so much is happening from so many different angles and places, Everything is based on how you look. What do you know? What don't you know? What have you been exposed to? It's the first time that children could be exposed to some sort of culture shock, maybe other countries, maybe other customs from other elementary schools. Just everything is so different now. And for those 3 years, 2, 3, 4 years that they're together, it is really hard to get through. It's just really tough. And yes, I guess it's important to talk about how important it is for them to start building their life track at that moment. But what good is having that life track if they don't even want to sit in the classroom? What good is it to take math and to take science and to take physics and to take chemistry and to take all these advanced courses to be that engineer, the scientist, whatever they want to be? What good is that if they don't even want to walk into school, if they don't know how to cope, if while they're sitting in class, the kid that's bullying them is tormenting them so bad that they can't even concentrate? Look at what happened with this poor kid in Florida. He got so hurt. He became such a victim of his own persecution by others that he decided to take his father's gun, a gun that was secure where it was. He decided to go to school that day, go into the bathroom and pull the trigger. What good is taking a math class if this is what's happening? If that kid is tormented? If a kid, you as an adult, you know how hard it is to not be able to focus on what you want to do because you have so many things working against you at that time. Tell me, what do you think? I mean, let me know. What are your thoughts on this matter? I'm just saying, like, it's one thing to talk about the subject, but as a parent, it's your job to protect your children and to teach them and to let them say, hey, you are who you are. You know, of course, this is going to be a hard time for you. You're going to get made fun of, but this is how you deal with it. And also, you know, if you know that your child may be mean, you could say to them, look, think about it. What you do and what you say to others may have a profound effect on them later on. If you torment that child now, you don't know what that child will become tomorrow. Maybe that child will be such a success that you will have to be at their whim tomorrow. Or maybe, like in the case of this poor young child, you are responsible for his taking his own life. You are now haunted by his ghost. You persecuted him so bad that now you have to live with that for the rest of your life. He's at peace now because you didn't want to give him any peace. I'm not talking about you in like the accusatory sense, but you have to teach this as a parent. Like, this is what parents should be saying to their kids. You know, I'm not saying anything in extreme in the case of suicide, but you have to tell your kids, you have to tell them this is an important era that they need to talk to you. Because even though we have all these anti-bullying campaigns out there, and that's fine and dandy, but guess what? We still have this problem. As a matter of fact, this problem is so exacerbated that once it's just horrible now, because it's now beyond just the four walls of the school. It's now on the internet where it can have a permanent footprint and it could follow that child for the rest of their life. So, you know, it's really important that you start talking to your kids about this. This is a very fragile time, and you should tell them that it's not going to be for forever. If you are finding yourself being tormented, it's not going to be forever. Soon, you're not going to be picked on anymore. You're going to have your growth spurt. You're probably going to mature faster than they do. Maybe you're going to find a talent that they don't have. You have to find a way to soldier on. And as a parent, you